So I'm 23, I'm from the UK, I run a faceless YouTube channel called Wi-Fi Uni with 25,000 subscribers, and it makes me around 2 grand a month. And today I want to talk about a question thing that sounds really simple, but that I think is actually the hardest part of building a YouTube channel, which is posting consistently even when you don't feel like it. And I want to be honest about what that actually means and why it matters so much more than most people give it credit for. Please excuse this AI slob voice. I promise the value in this video is worth it. And I want to start by being clear about what I mean by not feeling like it, because I think there are different versions of this, and they're worth distinguishing. Like there's the version where you're tired or distracted or just not in the mood, and there's the version where you genuinely doubt whether any of it is worth doing, and those are different problems that require different things. And I've experienced both of them over 2 years of posting every other day. The first version, the tired or distracted version, is the one that comes up most often and is honestly the easier one to deal with, because the fix is just doing it anyway. Like the resistance is mostly in starting rather than in doing. And once you're actually sitting down and working on the video, the resistance usually disappears. And most of the videos I made on days when I didn't feel like it turned out fine, and some of them turned out better than videos I made on days when I was fully motivated. The second version, the genuine doubt version, is harder. And I want to talk about it specifically because I think it's the one that actually causes people to quit. And I think most people who've tried to build a channel have been in that place where the doubt isn't just about energy levels. It's about whether the whole thing makes sense. So what does that doubt actually feel like? And I want to try and describe it accurately because I think vague descriptions of it don't help anyone. And what it felt like for me was a specific combination of things that all pointed in the same direction. It was looking at the analytics and seeing videos at 60 views after a week and thinking that if the videos were actually good, they'd be doing better than this. And it was watching other channels in the same niche growing faster and wondering what they were doing differently. And it was the background calculation of whether the hours I was spending were worth it given the returns I was seeing. And all of those things together created this low-level, persistent doubt about whether continuing made sense. And the thing that made it hard is that the doubt was rational. Like it wasn't irrational to look at those numbers and question whether to continue. The numbers genuinely did look like evidence of something not working, and the only thing that made the doubt wrong was the understanding that YouTube in the early phase produces results on a completely different timescale to the work that creates those results. And that understanding is quite hard to hold on to when the evidence in front of you seems to contradict it. The way I dealt with it was pretty simple in theory and quite hard in practice, which was just making the decision once rather than every day. And what I mean by that is I decided at the start that I was going to post every other day for at least 6 months regardless of the numbers. And I treated that as a commitment I'd already made rather than a decision I had to keep making fresh each time. And the reason that helped is that the daily decision about whether to post is where the doubt wins. Like if you're making the decision fresh every day, the doubt has a new opportunity every day to make a convincing case for why today is the day you should take a break, or slow down or rethink the whole thing. But if the decision has already been made, then the doubt doesn't get to argue about whether to post. It just has to watch while you do it. And I think this is genuinely one of the most useful things I can tell someone who's building a channel, which is to make the commitment in advance and treat it as non-negotiable, rather than leaving it as an open question you revisit every day. Because the open question will get answered wrong eventually, and it only has to get answered wrong once for the consistency to break. The other thing I want to talk about is what happens to the channel when you don't post consistently, because I think people underestimate how quickly the effects show up and how long it takes to recover from a break. YouTube is constantly building a model of your channel, and part of that model is posting frequency, like it learns how often you post. And it factors that into how aggressively it pushes your content to new viewers. And when you break the posting pattern, the algorithm notices, like the signal I was getting that this is a consistent, reliable channel gets interrupted, and the distribution pulls back, and rebuilding that trust with the algorithm after a break takes longer than most people expect. And beyond the algorithmic effects, there are audience effects. Like subscribers who are watching regularly and expecting new content stop showing up in the first few days after a video goes live. And that drop in early engagement affects how the algorithm assesses the video's performance, and that affects distribution. And it compounds in a way that means one break has downstream effects that last longer than the break itself. I've seen this play out enough times with channels I've watched to believe it's real. And my own experience of posting every other day without significant breaks over 2 years has given me a channel where the algorithm pushes content consistently because it trusts the channel to deliver, and I think that trust is genuinely hard to build and easy to damage. There's also a skills element to posting consistently that I think is underrated, and what I mean is that making videos is a skill, and skills develop through repetition, and consistent posting means consistent repetition, and the improvement that comes from that repetition compounds over time in a way that inconsistent posting just can't match. The person who posts every other day for a year has made roughly 180 videos by the end of it, and the person who posts once a week has made 52, and the difference in skill level between those two people at the end of that year is enormous, not because one is more talented, but because one has had 3.5 times as many repetitions, and repetitions are what build skill. And better skills mean better content, and better content means better click-through rates and better watch time and more subscribers per video. And all of those things compound in a way that means the gap between the consistent poster and the inconsistent one gets wider over time rather than narrower. And the last thing I want to say is about the relationship between consistency and luck, because I think people sometimes point to channels that grew quickly and attribute it to luck or a viral video or being in the right place at the right time. And while those things do happen, the consistent poster is statistically more likely to experience them because they're publishing more frequently, and each video is another chance for something to land better than expected. Like if 1 in 50 videos does significantly better than the others, and that better video is what introduces a lot of new people to the channel, then the person posting every other day gets to that 1 in 50 video in about 3 months, and the person posting once a week gets there in about a year, and the compounding that follows from that better video starts 3 months in rather than a year in, and the difference in where the channel is 12 months after that is enormous. Consistency is the thing that creates the conditions for luck to show up. And I think that's the most honest framing of why it matters so much. Like, it's not just about discipline or work ethic, it's about putting yourself in a position where the good things that can happen actually get a chance to happen. 2 years, every other day, some days motivated and some days really not, and the channel is at 25,000 subscribers, making $2,000 a month. And it genuinely believe none of that happens without the consistency. And I also genuinely believe the consistency is available to anyone who decides to treat it as a commitment rather than a daily choice. If you want more direct help building something like this, I do have a school community linked in the description. There's one-to-one feedback available depending on which tier you join. No pressure at all. Cheers for watching.